Justin Bell here, live from the Le Mans 24 Hours in France. I've actually got a real job this weekend, and that is working on behalf of Speed, bringing you over 18 hours of content back to the States. But as is my want, I do try and find a sexy car to drive, and here it is, the all-new 2010 Audi S4. This car will be coming to our shores in the States sort of late summer, but I got a sneak preview, and although this is a European spec car, it's almost identical to the ones that we'll get to drive. But as you can imagine, having the new S4 and just being able to drive around on French roads is not enough for Motor Guru. So we managed to talk our way with the clerk of the course and get ourselves out for just one lap of this most historic track. Let me be your tour guide to the Le Mans racetrack. Well, when you start a lap at Le Mans, as you come up here from incredibly high speed into these tight S's before the Dunlop Bridge, you don't normally have a bright orange van, but we might dispose of him. And really your mindset is how I'm going to set myself up for this long lap ahead. And everything that you learned and you did wrong the lap before, you're desperately trying to rectify and get completely on point for this next lap. This was, in the old days, a very, very, very dangerous section of the track with a lot of pavement change and camber. Right now, as you can see right there, someone has gone in the guardrail on the left. They're welding it. I'm glad that's not for me. There's the guy that gave me permission to do this. Smile. Nice. And now we all ask. Fantastic. And up we come to Tête Rouge, and all the fans are thinking, who is that? Wally in a road car. And unwinding the car out onto the Mulsanne Straight, as we like to call it, but Les Unaudières, as they call it. There's a transition in the middle of the track here where you actually have to go across the crown of the road, which is obviously the real highway, and the traffic goes both ways on this road. So you actually find yourself, especially in a prototype car, really moving around. But oh dear, I can see like an official car in front of us. So we're at the moment only doing 200k, but it just seems like you're doing nothing. We may have to out-accelerate him. The chicanes were put in obviously quite late in Le Mans history, but it's made driving very demanding both on the car and on the driver, because braking down from maximum speed at least 3 times on this straight and 4 or 5 times on the track is just very, very hard work. And we're about to overtake a Audi R8, which I don't know how that'll go down. What's he doing there? And then we arrive at the second chicane, which is I don't know if the man in the R8 knows I'm going by. Okay, wave nicely. We're English, we don't know. And into the chicane. The exit of this chicane is really critical and difficult because you have this kind of habit to let the car roll out wide, but it gets really shitty out there, and the guy in the R8 is on my tail. Somehow I have to get away from this guy without going away from him too fast. Okay, come on, let's go. And here we are. Very tight right-hander at the end of the Mulsanne Straight. Very bumpy. Actually, in the Viper one year, I ended up going around that roundabout over there, which took everyone by surprise, including me. The old pit lane used to be here on the right. The signalling used to be down on pit boards, and obviously using old radio systems to communicate. It was really very ineffective, yet it was the slowest part on the track. And this section through here, you actually do the same speed as you do down the Mulsanne Straight. We're doing 240k right now. You'd normally go through there flat, but I just don't feel like it with no helmet. I love this corner, Indianapolis. Come in here, you wind it in here, through you go, boom, down, boom, pick the low gear, get in there. Missed the apex completely, Justin, fabulous. Showing you how not to do it. and into what in the wet is, I think, the most difficult corner on the track, because you brake here and you kind of lock up and almost disappear down that little gap there, but it's so difficult, especially with that ABS on a prototype. And here, your mindset is at this part on the track that you are almost home, but you have what is probably the hardest combination of corners up ahead, and that is through the Porsche Curves. So this is just very, very fast. And I have to say that, like in the factory Corvette and the Viper, you are really kind of grabbing hold of yourself right here, saying, we have to make a beautiful entry in here, carry a lot of speed, but it's just not easy at all. Prototypes are actually easier to drive through this section because they have less body roll and more downforce, but this is just really very difficult in a GT car. Of course, the S4 is beautifully balanced, and obviously that turbo 3 litre just kicking in as we accelerate. Really nice. They've actually widened the exit here, and the drivers are talking about how much of it they're allowed to use legally or not. And through here, and right now you'll be going, I cannot mess this lap up, I am almost home.
Yeah, the S4, I think stunning. It was actually my first, and it was an earlier version, it was my first road car from Audi, and I absolutely loved it. But then when you see the generations moving forward, and the current one with the new split on the differential and that new rear axle, that gives it, even though it's four-wheel drive, you get all the advantages of that, but you can, to be honest, you can play with it. It's got 333 horsepower, and you can really make that car work for you. So it's got the sort of assured stability from the chassis and the new control, the 7-speed gearbox, and I just like the overall concept of that little V6 engine and that power and ability to play with it.